All right, so this is Ask Me Anything. I am actually in the middle of doing a very massive paper that I have to have done by midnight. But as Ndiche, as my ancestors say, so long as my Ikenga is alive, I can wrestle in the land of spirits. So I'll be doing that during this live. I'm going to be answering any questions you guys have. Once we have 15 people in here, I'm going to go ahead and begin. That'll buy me some time. Udo, Udo, Udo. I don't see any comments, so you guys say something so I know that you guys are still here. Say something so I know that the chat is working. I'm not seeing anything. Say something so I see that who is all in the house. We got 8 people in the house. Ndewo. I'm thinking the chat's not working. Maybe I should shut this thing off. I'm thinking the chat is not working. Maybe I should shut this thing off. Ndewo, ndewo. Okay, once we get 15 people in here, we're going to go ahead and begin. What is going on? Aha! Mr. Fernandez, I can always trust on you. Jermaine, ndewo, Jermaine, super good seeing you. Kevin, ndewo, love seeing these veterans. Christian Ike, we do, hi, we de campe. Aduma, Jashike. All right, we do. Okay, I'm glad that we're here. Once we get to 15 people, we're going to go ahead and begin. I'm going to see if I can also do this paper at the same time. So let's see where this goes. I'm also potty training over here too. So this is Ikenga at full work. Guys, see? Yes, hola. Good job, hola. Yes, you are. Odinala. Udo. Like, okay, so the rules are this. This is Ask Me Anything. If you have a question, I have an answer. This is also Ask Me Almost Anything, so chill out. My name is Derek Ofarinwa. If you're new, I discuss Odinala and Igbo spirituality, cosmology, and ancestral philosophy. If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button, right? Hit the subscribe button. If you're not new, you know how it goes. Come with your topics, come with your questions. Let's see where this goes. I don't like planning these discussions. I like to see where it goes and that kind of thing. And also, we are currently in session with our Igbo language class at www.kedu.me. But if you're interested in learning the Igbo language this year, December in Nigeria is going to be insane because I just saw the price for flight tickets. So I know everybody's going to be there. So if you're trying to learn some Igbo before you go, sign up at www.kedu.me. If you need some time signing up, go ahead and reach out to me, message me, and I'll see if I can reserve a seat for you. We keep 12 seats available. We officially haven't started signing up for this next session just because I like the current students to get the first dibs. But if you're interested, you'll be signing up at kedu.me. And then if you are a DBI, if you know within yourself that you are a DBI, an ancestral healer, an ancestral healer, you can also sign up for our traditional medicine class at www.kedu.me. It is Oghun 1 and Oghun 2. Both classes are taught by our in-house Dibia Uzo. And we walk you through the whole thing. So all the initiations necessary, all of the rituals necessary, and then also how to work with Mo, how to work with the Abara, how to work with plants, how to work with your environment, how to work with the earth, how to tap into and communicate with your Agun, right? If I'm saying anything, if I'm bringing up any terms you don't know, once we hit 15 people, ask me. If you don't ask me, I'm leaving. Did you update your camera? It's very clear. No, I didn't, but I'm actually about to update my camera. I'm thinking, so you guys let me know if you guys want me to do this. I'm thinking of just doing a lot more lives, right? Instead of just doing it Saturday, just doing it, because like that's what's going on right now on the internet, right? People go live every day, right? So something like that. If you guys want to see that, let me know. If you guys like this format, then so be it. We'll keep it that way. We have passed 15 people. All right, let us go ahead and begin. So I brought Aji for us. Because it is the nighttime, I will not be breaking it, but I'll go ahead and bless it nonetheless. So what I have in my hands here is the Aji, right? This right here is a symbol for many things in Odinala and Igbo. It is a symbol of the universe itself because a proper Aji will break in 4 pieces representing the 4 quadrants of all creation and the four forms of being, the four rivers that we use to enter and exit this world, which are Eke, Uri, Afo, and Onwo. They represent the four chambers of the heart. The Oji represents the heart as a whole. It represents the union between Madu, Mo, Chi, na Eke. It represents the union between Ndimbu, Ndiegede, right? Ndiowa, right? And then Omonabia, right? So that is your ancestors before your ancestors, the people of the world, and then the children to come. So every single thing, if you understand this thing I'm holding in my hand, you understand all things in Odinala and Debo. On top of that, when I hold this, I speak on behalf of our ancestors. When you hold this, you speak on behalf of our ancestors. This is the baton that they pass from all the way from Obi-Chukwu down to us. So we take this thing very seriously, right? Let me go ahead. Only way to know you're not AI. What? Oh, cool, DB. Who's this? Oh, what happened? What happened? What happened? A fly? Is a fly? My daughter's afraid of flies. Okay, sorry. Is it fly? Okay, all right, no problem. Let's go get you a diaper, okay? Come on. Hold on, guys. Chair. Okay, Gambido. We're gonna handle some fatherly duties, and then we're gonna break Aji, right? So you guys can go ahead and start asking your questions if you have questions. Ola, follow me. You guys can go ahead and ask questions if you have questions. Go ahead, man. Udo. Somebody said that DBL will be coming by. That's good. Lie down, mama. Lie down. Let me see if I can put this here. We're going to go back to our normal station. We just got to handle some things first. All right, cool. Turn around. Love the lives. Okay, so somebody said, yeah, I like the lives too, right? I like the long form videos too, but time is not working in my favor as far as those go. And then on top of that, I just feel like that's very old school internet now, right? I think the new internet is turning on the damn camera and running your mouth, which I can 100% do. But it doesn't mean that I'm going to stop one or the other. I just want to reach a position where I'm consistent, but also able to do the long form videos when I'm able and when I want to. All right. But we shall see. It's just adapting with the format. Let's see. We haven't broke Aji yet, so I'm not answering any questions. Absolute things. Okay, good. I'm glad you're asking. Everybody that's asked a question, give yourself kudos. Oh, sweetie. Auntie Diana. Hola, Auntie Diana says she's gonna stomp that fly, okay? Yeah, my daughter chose flies of all things to be afraid of, and so now we're dealing with it. Where are we at? The lives are phenomenal. Damn. Okay. I think we're getting a lot of votes on the lives, right? I'm thinking about doing a lot more lives, just really focusing on the lives. My schedule, my responsibilities, right, as in over this summer have increased significantly. And so I do have to change some things up so I can be consistent. And it's more natural for me to go live and just talk and answer the questions as they come and that kind of thing, right? And then when the long form videos come, they come. That's what I'm thinking, right? And I can do it every day. Thinking of a topic every day would be very, very difficult though. Thinking of a topic every day, especially because the topics come to me seconds before I turn the live on, if I have a topic. Like I didn't think of a topic. I was gonna do a live today about how physical items are not culture, but I don't think we're ready for that conversation because we're getting ourselves confused with a lot of Western thinking. Take off my shoes. Yes, you're right. No problem. Okay, I'm gonna go back. All right, diaper changed. Now it's time for this paper. Hola, yeah. Okay.
I'm hungry.
Hey. You're hungry? Okay, hold on. Namdi. Namdi. Hold on, guys. Namdi. Bia. Osiso.
Here.
Okay, get all the applesauce. Okay, and call her, play with her. Take her. Boya.
Oh, man, do you want to come with me?
Go get applesauce with Namdi. Hurry up.
Come on.
And then go upstairs, play with her. If she comes back down here, we'll you call her. All right. I think we're gonna go do this. Okay. All right, so the long forms are good. Uzo chuku ibo, dalo dibia, dalo. All right. Uncle Mamadou, I don't know who that is. Lives are phenomenal. Yeah. No, and I love doing the long forms too. It's just time is changing for me. Things have changed for me. I'm entering a new chapter. I love this new chapter. This new chapter is supposed to happen. But it is tough on time. It takes a lot of time. All right. I need to wash my hands. I'm not gonna change diaper and break all this. So hold on. Everybody's getting a tour of my entire life.
Can you have this?
What?
Can you please have this?
Sure, if you can open it for her. Uh-huh. Okay. We're washing our hands before we break cola. We had an unplanned diaper changing. And you cannot be blessing cola with dirty hands. And so we'll be washing before we begin. Huh? You guys can ask all the questions you want. Once I'm situated, I'll be answering them. None of this was planned, but that's kind of what I like about the lives. You just live your life and see where it goes. So we're washing our hands. I washed everything else prior, so we're good. All right. Typically, before I break G, I'll wash my feet. Let me say it in order so I don't sound crazy. I'll wash my face. I'll wash my hands. I'll wash my mouth. I'll wash my feet before I personally break G. Or I'll just do it right after I showered and cover all bases. But because I'm representing my ancestors, I cannot hold this thing with dirty hands. Whoa, no, we're not doing that. Oh, there, all right. So, you guys have been patient and I appreciate that. So, we're somewhat situated now. Can Gola not grow outside of Nigeria? Yes, it can. But I don't know anybody who grows it in the US. I would imagine in the South it's growable. But yeah, it can grow outside, definitely grow outside Nigeria. Oh yeah, it takes a long time to grow too. The tree takes a long time to grow, to my knowledge. I could be wrong. Kaibido. Okikeke ruwa. Alabuala. Ala nne mmadụ na nne mmụọ. Ala isiri bịa. Ala isi elo. Ala na-enye ndụ, na-enye nke ọma dị n'ụwa. Ụmụ gị abịala. Obi ọma ka anyị ji na-ekele ndị mbụ na ndị egede. Ndị mmadụ na ndị mmụọ. Ụmụ obi Chukwu na ụmụ ụwa. Ọjị abịala. Ejikwere m ọjị na-ekele ụmụ ndị eke, ndị orie, ndị afọ na ndị nkwọ. Na-ekele igwe, na-ekele mmiri. Na-ekele anyanwụ, na-ekele ọnwa. Na-ekele ndụ na ije. Na-ekele okwu dị ije anyị soro na-aga. Ọjị nke bụ ọjị na-enye ndụ. Ọjị nke bụ ọjị na-enye akọ na uche. Ọjị nke bụ ọjị anyị ji ama ndị iche anyị na mmadụ otu ha ma anyị na mmụọ. Otu unu fụrụ m bụ otu m dị. Aka m dị ọcha, obi m dị ọcha, ụkwụ m dị ọcha, mana ana m aga ije Chineke kere ka m gaa n'ụwa. Werekwa ọjị na Eke, Orie, Afọ na Nkwọ ise. Kaibido, let us begin, let us begin, let us begin. Where are those little hearts? I'm not seeing those little hearts. How do you guys make them little hearts fly on the top of the side of the screen? I'm not seeing any of the little hearts. I'm not seeing the heart. Where are they at? I'm not seeing the little hearts. I'm not seeing the hearts. Okay, now I'm seeing them. You say, Dalo. Okay, Kaibido. All right, let me begin by answering the first question. Did I update my camera? No, but I think I'm about to make a very, very big move if I'm going to be doing more live streams. What are some absolute things one should know before they decide to get initiated, for example, into the Igbo traditions? Okay, so there is no such a thing as getting initiated into Igbo tradition. There's no such a thing as getting initiated into Odinala. Odinala is the perspective of Ndimbu Nandiegede, of our first ancestors, which have been passed to us. Yes.
Okay, so you told us to watch TV, but
Yeah.
okay, so the remote doesn't work in my room, and you can't find the remote in your room, so no TVs to watch.
Okay, give all out a tablet so you guys can both watch on tablet. Okay. So Machuzo. So Odinala is the ancestral perspective, understanding, and connection of the original ancestors that have been passed to us. So it is the inheritance of all of the people of the world. So as far as Odinala, there's no initiation per se. Within Odinala, there are things you can be initiated into, and those things depend on what you are trying to do. Most specifically, who are you, and that kind of thing, right? Ultimately, as you study Odinala, you learn that you are studying yourself. There's an ilu that says, when a person seeks for their chi, they find themselves. When a person seeks for themselves, they find their chi. So ultimately, you are learning about yourself by learning about all of the things you are connected to, which is all of creation. Now, in the process of learning about yourself, nobody can initiate you into learning about yourself. But within Odinala, right, things like Oron Dibia, being a Dibia, right, being an ancestral healer, working with Agu, right, it's not just something that everybody does. It's a specific type of person that does that. That person is born that way. You're born as an ancestral healer. And if anything, the initiation is them accepting who they've always been. Okay? Things like Nzenozo, right? Becoming a living ancestor. Nzenozo. You can be initiated into that, right? It's not that everybody who understands or studies or follows Odinala has to be a Dibia and has to be Nzenozo, or has to join Owu, or all these different societies. But within Odinala, in English, we would call them mystery schools. There are different mystery schools you can join within Odinala, and all of them ultimately are, you already are that thing before you join, but once you understand that that's who you are, then you do the initiation of self-acceptance, right? Of calling your chi and saying, okay, my chi, I accept who I am. I know who I am now. I know the road I'm supposed to follow. I need you with me. That's what the initiation is. So within Odinala, there are different things that you can be initiated for. Now, in order to study Odinala, what do you need to know prior going in? Nothing, right? Nothing. You don't need to know anything. You understand? It would help if you spend your time learning who your ancestors are. Okay, and learning them over the span of your lifetime. It's not that you'll know all of your ancestors and then begin learning Odinala. There's no such a thing as that, right? If you just know the name of your grandmother, if you just know the name of a grandfather, that's fine. Start from there and then begin learning their names, learning their stories, learning who they are. Learning their names, learning their stories, learning who they are. That's thing number one I can focus on. Another thing that will help you, but it's not like you have to know this before you start, is learning the thing I just did, how to break Aji, how to do this thing. Now, I didn't break it because I learned this very late in life, like within this past 2 years. You don't break Aji at night. I didn't know that, right? But it makes sense. So I'll be breaking this in the morning for us, but learning things like that, learning how to do that, the Iwaji, let's call it a prayer that I just did before we started, right? That would help. But you don't need to start knowing anything. You start blank. In fact, I think you can learn more starting blank than if you're coming in with all these ideas of what things already are and what things should be. Okay. So yeah, you don't need to come as you are. Begin by learning who your ancestors are. Begin by learning how to break Aji. And then learn based on what's important to you. It's not that you have to cram and memorize everything, but learn what's important to you, right? I can introduce you to different topics, but something your chi will say, pay attention to that one. And then from there, you'll start going further and learning more. And then also think of that example that I just gave, this idea of learning based off your chi saying, go this way, right? I can list a bunch of things to you, and then your chi will say that one, right? And learning how to listen to that, how to feel that. And once you felt it, following that route, you understand? Following that route. Okay, my chi said this one. Let me focus here a little bit more. You understand, right? That's really it. Come as you are, come natural. You don't need to be like an Odinani expert to start, or you don't need to be initiated into anything to start. Just start. Um, Odds are unless you become like a DBA or join like Inzen also and all these different things, there's probably nothing that you'll be initiated into, period. Nobody can initiate you into knowing your ancestors. Nobody can initiate you into knowing who you are. Nobody can initiate you into knowing your path. And that's all this is. Odemma. Aurora, and there will. All right. Odemma. The long and made my night at the end of a long day to see that you're going live since I'm working on the West Coast this weekend. Jermaine, man, I'm very happy to have you. Thank you. Book club breakdowns are a good format for lives. Oh, that's interesting. That's interesting. Yeah, I got a lot of books I can definitely break down. We can do that. Don't be a coconut. I don't know what that means. Okay, when is the deity Ngene called most? I've heard of him less than I hear of Ogungun, Udo, so on and so forth. Um, think about the Abara as they're like, okay, so our community is existence. Our community is the universe. And the Abara are like the elders of that community, right? So within a community, you will know why you're going to go to a specific elder. It's not that you just have to call all of the elders every single day, right? But you'll know why you have to go to one or the other. You understand? But some things to pay attention to is oftentimes people focus on Abara based on their community, where they're from. Where I'm from, Njaba, Nkwo is important. Just a little bit of ways, it's not that important. You understand? So sometimes it's the community, right? What's important to them. Oftentimes, the way a community knows which Abara are important is you pay attention to what spirits or what forces, or both physical and non-physical, and their physical and non-physical form, what forces are relevant in the environment, right? What forces are relevant in the environment. The reason Njaba is important to us because the Njaba River runs through my community, and the Njaba River owned the land before we came to call it our own. She's the one that gave us the land. You understand? So she's important to us because of that. You understand? If you go a little bit away from my village, it becomes Idem Mili. Idem Mili is now important, right? We don't talk about Idem Mili where I'm from because the river in Idem Mili is not there. So this is very literally speaking about who we're in community with, right? Anyanwu is important to everybody because Anyanwu was always there. Igwe is important to everybody because Igwe is always there. Of course, and then Allah is the most important. Allah is supreme, right? Because Allah, there's an Ilu that says, no matter how far a man runs, he'll meet Allah. Right? No matter how far a man runs, he will meet Allah. For those who don't know, Allah is the earth. Allah is the earth, right? So it's just who are you in community with? And then once you figure out who you're in community with, then you figure out what's more important. Now, Diana, knowing you, right, Abu might also be important for you too, right? Because of what you're interested in and what you do and who you are. For another person, everybody's album is important, but it's not focal, right? It's not the main thing they focus on, right? So it's just what's relevant to you, what matters to you. So the reason you're hearing about one or the other, also, I think a lot of the people from Anambra put their stuff online more. People from Anambra put their stuff online more. And so you're going to hear about things from that Anambra area, like Okungu and so forth. You're going to hear about it first. Nri, all that stuff. You're going to hear about it first just because of who's putting their stuff online more. It doesn't mean that it's more prevalent or it's more important. It's just they prioritize putting it online, right? Most communities, it's just that's not our, like, if this is our thing, why am I posting it? Who am I posting it for, right? That kind of thing. Well, where can I find Udo in the US? Is it possible to find? Do you mean or Odu? Yeah, I'm sure there's places you can buy it. I've never purchased one. I'm sure there's places you can buy it. I've never purchased one. Amazon, all these different places. It shouldn't be hard to find. But yeah, I've never purchased, so I wouldn't know. Every time I touch my screen, like it zooms in and zooms out super hard. So this is kind of pissing me off. Who tweaked YouTube? My caught your live early. You're always, I don't know why, you're always here now. You're always here. So I'm surprised that you're saying you're catching this one early. I do ma, I do ma. Gekwano? Gekwano? Okay, Cherekwe. Would you speak on market days and the connection to locations? Awesome. Yes, I can. So, market days and connections to location. I'm curious about how towns receive their assigned market day. Okay, perfect. All right. So, something you will notice about Odinala is it is naturalistic. Odinala is naturalistic. Everything we are doing in Odinala is a reflection of nature. So we do not go to a community and say that this community is going to have the Eke market because we believe it should have it or because it's our opinion or because that's what we want. Mba, right? It is a naturalistic process that is used to figure out what's going on, meaning that instead of imposing our ideas on nature, we listen to nature and hear nature's ideas of what is what. Okay? And one of the ways we listen to nature is this process known as Ntwala, or Itwala. Sorry, not Ntwala, Itwala, right? Itwala. Itwala is it's a science. It's a methodology for communicating with Allah. There's many different things you can do within this idea of Ntwala. But ultimately, the earth herself already knows this patch of land is the Eke market. This patch is the Uri. This one is Nkwo, this one, so on and so forth. I thought this one is Nkwo. Each of them is going to have a certain vibration. Each patch is, even if it looks like a bunch of shrubs, right? There's one way you can do in Twala where there's a staff, like an iron rod you can take and you strike the ground and it's going to give you the vibration of that particular part of the land. That vibration will tell you the energy signature, right? Let's use English. The energy signature of that patch of land. So when our ancestors say this is the Eke market, it's not that they decided it, it's that they revealed it. Okay? Is that they revealed it. This even goes into the concept of akaraka. The fact that your destiny is already etched on your body, already etched in your hand, already etched in the cosmos, and you're discovering it, right? You're brushing the dust off and you're seeing what's under. But that thing was there before you brushed that dust off. That thing was there before you became aware of it. So every single patch of land in the world already has its own akaraka. And Ntuala is a way of figuring out what is this land and what is this, what does Allah say is we're supposed to do on this patch of land here, right? What did Allah say about this one? What did Allah say about that one? If you follow nature's own design for a community, you will be very surprised at what you come up with. This is then how you get these fractal formations. When you see a lot of African communities, these mathematical fractal formations. This is why things are where they, especially the traditional things like the shrine. The shrine is not where the shrine is because we want it to be. A lot of modern shrines, they put it up at wherever you buy land, sure. But the ones that the ones that people and the ones that make people run, those ones you don't choose where they're at. Like in my community, right? The Njaba Nkwo shrine, if you go to where the shrine is, you're gonna see thousands of pythons just lying around, just in a total peace. But they all gather there, thousands, hundreds, I don't know the number, but an uncountable amount of pythons that just chill in this particular area, right? That told us as a community that the presence is here. The home base is here. Obi, Njaba de Otwa. The heart of Njaba is in this place. Because those pythons they're the animal manifestation of that river, right? They're the animal manifestations of that river. And for some reason, the animal manifestation of that river already knows to gather right here and do this thing. All of the creatures of existence follow this pattern, right? Rather than imposing themselves on nature, seeing where nature is and that kind of thing, right? You'll notice a dog will sniff around and look for where to go to the bathroom. Why? Because Allah already told the dog, this is the bathroom here. This is the bathroom here. Even a spider will bypass a whole bunch of corners and then set up its web. Why? Because Allah already said your web is already here. You're just here to reveal it, to brush the dust off and show us that it's always been there. It has always been there. That is the concept of akaraka. That is the concept of awele, right? I always use this analogy. I think you guys are going to hear this analogy every single live, that every single seed that you see is already a forest, right? So if you see a seed, know that you're already looking at a forest. Now, if I plant that seed in the ground and I give it time, it interacts with the four elements, eke, light, urie, water, afo, land, nkwo, wind. If it interacts with the other umuwa, right? Human beings or living things, that kind of thing. If it manifests the way it's supposed to manifest, it's going to sprout out of the ground. As it sprouts out of the ground, it's going to drop seeds. They're going to make more trees. That's going to attract animals. They're going to defecate. They're going to have seeds in their defecation. They're going to make more trees. Because animals are coming here to eat leaves, some of them are going to die. The funguses are going to form around it. The mycelium network is going to form. And then over 100 years, you're going to now see, that seed was a forest the whole time, right? So if you're looking at it with anyamo, right, with oseora, with your third eye, as they call it in the West, right? If you're looking at it with your spiritual eye, you'll know that this seed was always a forest, but it takes time and space for madu, for the other set of eyes to see it, right? So that's how we figure out what is what. This land is already Eke market. This land is already Uriye. This land is already Afo. This land is already Nkwo. You understand? Even roads, right? There's this concept in Odinala where Uzongwai, which are footpaths, are sacred. Footpaths are sacred because footpaths reveal themselves naturally. You don't decide, okay, this is going to be, at least in the village context, you don't decide this is what the footpath is going to be. But if your mother, you're sitting at home and your mother, her sister is married over there. And so every morning she walks over there to go talk to her. And then in the afternoon, they walk back together and they keep walking. That connection they have with each other is going to create a footpath, right? And that footpath itself had existed before they started walking. It's just now been revealed by time. But if you have Anya Mo or Seara, you would have known that footpath was already there. So we wait to see nature unravel itself. We wait to see nature, even when you do, like for example, when you're forming an awful, a staff, right? Staff of a spiritual staff of authority, right? If you guys want me to explain awful, let me know. You don't break an awful you don't rip the branch from the tree. You don't break a branch off from the tree. You don't cut a branch from the tree. People are asking me where they can buy it. I don't want to be a part of that. I don't want to be a part of that. So y'all can do whatever you want. I have to be 100% accountable. Make sure that this thing was not torn off the tree. Otherwise, I don't want to be part of it, right? So, but as far as the awful is supposed to drop from the tree by itself. meaning that before you can form an all fall, the tree has to release it and drop it for you, and you find it. That's the time you get. It's not when you decide I want an all fall that I'm going to go grab an all fall, right? The one you can use is the one the tree says, oh yeah, take. It's your time now, right? Even if it takes 20 years, so be it. So be it, right? So it's a more naturalistic approach to what is what and where is where. That's a really good question. What does parcel look like? I'll do my oil it down. But hey, warning, warning. When people declare their Ikenga chi, how is this chi different than the regular chi, which is still mighty? What does it mean for Ezenwai who declares her Ikenga chi if she's married? Your Ikenga chi is your regular Ikenga, I would suppose, right? Your Ikenga chi is your regular Ikenga. It's the same thing. It's the same thing as your regular Ikenga. So when we say Ikenga, though, sometimes it takes on like sometimes it can talk about like ability and strength and all these things that you can see in the physical, right? So if somebody's saying Ikenga chi, they're saying more so the spiritual, right? Your Ikenga in the spiritual. I think that's what the term is trying to say. But Ikenga is Ikenga. For a woman, for most is and why, you have to be able to balance those energies, right? So Ikenga, no, momo, you balance the two of them as an is and why. It's common, it's normal, right? In fact, I have this book I want to recommend to you that talks about it. When you get a chance, just message me and I'll send it over to you. I'm a Patreon member. How do I access the research library? Okay, Cedric, message me. So when you first joined, I should have sent you the link, okay? If I didn't send you the link, it happens. Just message me on Patreon and I'll send you the link. You should also be linked to your calendar too, okay? What is the job of a parent whose child's onyowa may be an obanje spirits? What is the job of the child whose onyowa may be an obanje? Just take your time. It is, okay. If that's the case, though I wouldn't jump and say that's the thing unless you really, really, really know. It's very important for you to understand who that child is and let them be that person to the extent that it doesn't hurt them, okay? It's important for you to understand who that child is and let them be that person to the extent that it does not harm them, if that's what you suspect. But honestly, I don't like answering questions with like kids and stuff like that. So, yeah. Can't believe I caught you live today. Dalo, what are your thoughts about Cynthia Acholono? Oh, her books about Igbo origins. Yes. So Cynthia Acholono is one of, is that her first name? I just know Acholono, Dr. Cynthia Acholono. She highlights things that I would love to see highlighted more. She was one of the first people to bring a lot of things into the mainstream that for some reason, I mean, I know why they don't get talked about, but yeah, so like things like Igbo Uku and things like that. So yeah, no, great historian, is among Ndiegede as it speaks. One of the key architects to this revival in Odinala that we're undergoing now. Brilliant, just a brilliant writer. Yeah, a lot of what she discovered was important in my own research too. Mainly her work about Ugwele and Utsuru and all those places and things like that. For some reason, right, the oldest artifact site or mass artifact site in Africa doesn't get press, but she gave it press. So there's that, and then her work in Leja and Opi and all those ironsmithing sites. I'm a history fanatic, so she's super important to me in what I do. So she's awesome. I know her daughter too. Her daughter and I don't know if it was maybe like a partner or something, had reached out to me and we had a conversation a few days ago. So the Cynthia Chalono Foundation is still, of like research and things like that, I think it's still going strong. So I'll do my. What is Akwali Omomo? Akwali Omomo, Akwa Ali Omomo is it's this edifice, it's this thing you build to channel Omomo energy from the earth, right? It is something you build to channel Omomo energy from the earth. It is an Arushi. It is an Arushi that channels Omomo. What is Omomo? Omomo is the procreative energy. We can say, for the sake of speaking Oyibo, we can say the feminine energy of the earth, the procreative energy of the earth. This is the energy that produces life, or that channels life from one place to another. I need to support my seating and work on my paper. This is the energy that brings life from one place to another. So this is the energy that brings life from one place to another. This is also the energy that channels your capacity to manifest. Think about the Omomo and the Ikenga. They are like left and right hand, right? The Omomo is strong and dominant in women. The Ikenga is strong and dominant in men, okay? You asked earlier, like A's and Y. A's and Y learn to balance the two, okay? Same thing with DBS. And so the Aqua Ale Omomo is that thing that is something that channels the earth, because the earth is a woman as well. It channels her Omomo, right? Most of the more powerful Arushi in Igbo land, the core is an Aqua Ale Omomo, right? So we talk about Ogungun. Ogungun, the core of Ogungun is channeling that earth energy, right? Is use of that earth energy. It's not just, or let me say this, it is your procreative energy, but it's also your magnetic energy. So it's the energy that makes things happen without you moving, right? Your manifesting energy, your creative energy. The Ikenga is kinetic, it moves, right? The Ikenga is I'm going to Dublin and I'm going to come back. I'm going to come back with a new job, right? I need you with me. Your Ikenga will follow you, but you must do. As you do, the Ikenga is empowered and fed, right? The Omomo is, I shall have this in my life. And then you wait. And then the Omomo brings it in. But the Omomo, you give it, you feed it, you give it energy, you give it whatever it takes, right? Some Omomo require sacrifice, some take honey, some take, I've seen some that take tree pulp. Different things you give, and then when you ask, she gives back. Okay, the Ikenga's own is this is the direction we're going. I need you with me, and then that thing moves with you. Okay, so the Ikenga takes less than the Omu. Can people make shrine to deities, or are they made by Dibia? It's not even in the modern day. Dibias make shrines in the modern day. In the past, certain people that they would refer to as Osu were the ones who would erect shrines. There are some exceptions. People from places like Arochukwu can make shrines. People from Unri can make shrines. But there are just certain people that make shrines. Today, most DBS can make shrines. And if you know what you're doing, a human being, not a human being, a normal, regular, everyday person can too, right? It just helps to have a professional, right? It's like asking me who can build cars. Well, if you have the sense, you can build a car, but usually there are professionals that build the cars. In the past, those professionals were a different set of people. It has now changed that not most, but many DBAs specialize in building shrines. I know a DBA who, that's what he does. He has a gift for building shrines. And that's just what he does. He's not Arrow or the Enri or anything like that, but he builds shrines. That's what he does, and that kind of thing. So if you have the gift, you have the gift, right? But yeah, it's just whatever you think works for you. Eke is the forest east. Orie, flowing waters. Oh, beautiful. Belladonna says she's late. Oh, no. When you arrive, there's an ilu that says, when a person wakes up is their morning. So good morning. Links back to our time is medicine conversation. Yes. If you call a deity from, if you call a deity from the Anyanwu, you will then, that deity and must do correctly, install correctly, give sacrifices correctly. Yeah. Yeah. So when you're working with Abara, all the Abara have their rules. And so when you're working with the Abara, most people just work with their chi and their ancestors. If you need to go to an Abara for one reason or another, and there are reasons that you have to, so be it, but it'll come with its own, like, this is how it works, right? But it's not just that, you know, I wouldn't advise somebody just steps into Odinala and they start like running around from Abara to Abara, right? I think a lot of people, a lot of people come in with the mentality because of Ifa and because of the way Ifa treats the Orisha, they want to do the same with the Abara. It's not, that's not how we do it, right? At all. Our focus is with our Chi and with our Indiche, our ancestors, okay? Our Chi and our ancestors, okay? And whatever power you think you're getting from them, they've already given it to you. So go do the thing. Go do the thing, right? Go move, and you'll see them work. That's the way we as Igbo people see it, right? Um, and then, like most of the time in the traditional setting, people go to Abara for like community scale issues. So if two people are having a conflict and they can't resolve it amongst each other, we can go to the Abara to intervene, for example, right? Some people, maybe they're having like issues having children, they've gone to Dibia, they've gone to the hospital, they've gone everywhere. And I go, okay, let me go. I hear that this particular one helps with so and so and so forth, right? That kind of thing, you know. So there's different reasons people go to Abara or Arashi. Arashi are the things they use to channel Abara, right? Arashi is like the home of the Abara, where the spirit is channeled, or the meeting place where the spirit is met. Okay. Think about the Abara as Wi-Fi and the Arashi as the Wi-Fi receiver. Okay, but we in the Igbo tradition, you know, it's not common for people to go to the Abara unless like that's your job. Like if you're a Dibia, that's your work. So of course, you know what I mean. But then usually it's community-wide issues and things like I said, these are the elders of the community. These are the elders of the community. Okay, and if you understand the culture, it's not every whim that you go to the elders for. There's a story about Nechuku. All right, in fact, let me try to do this thing while I do this. There's a story about Nechuku where Nechuku was the wisest, or the shrine to Nechuku in Ugwele, which the person I brought up, Catherine Acholano, if I think in one of her books, I think Before Adam, she tells the story. So at Ugwele, there is a shrine to Nechuku and or Eke. If you guys have been watching the channel long enough, you'll know who Eke is. And people used to come to Nechuku and ask her any question in the world, and she would have the answer. And one day, one woman got jealous that people keep going to her for answers and not her, the woman. So she said, okay, I'm going to see if this Nechuku thing is real. And she went to Nechuku and said, I've hidden my cooking pot. Do you know where I can find where my cooking pot is? And Nechuku showed her where the cooking pot is, but was so angered by the disrespect that she left the community and landed elsewhere, right? She went elsewhere and didn't return to Ugwele. So we don't go to the Abara unless it's very, very serious. Different communities argue as to whether she's in their community. She's in my community, she's in my community. The most famous is the Arochukwu Long Juju Shrine, known as Chukwu. The story is that when she landed in Arochukwu, she turned herself into a man so that women won't disrespect her. So that women won't disrespect her anymore. Oh, shit. What are your thoughts on the Nook culture? Any relations to Igbo? No, Nook is fascinating. I don't think Nook is connected to Igbo though. I think Nook is more connected to Edo, not Igala, Edo and Yoruba, and all the middle belt. Some of them like Nupe, Hausa, and them, but I don't think they're connected to Igbo. But Igbo is older than Nook. Igbo is older than Nook. So if you look, like if you're an archaeology person, the oldest stuff you find in Igbo land is thousands of years older than Nook, right? But if you look at the art style in Nook, it looks more like Yoruba and Edo, like the shape of the eyes, these big, what's that shape? I can't think, diamond shaped eyes. And then you see the same type of art in Yoruba art and that kind of thing. So I think their Nook is more related to like the middle belt cultures, they call it Nigeria, and then like Oyo, which is a Yoruba group, and Edo, that kind of thing. But even those groups are related to Igbo too, so never mind. What is the pre-colonial Igbo like, and why didn't Igbo expand their civilization to create a greater kingdom or empire, or even a confederation, right? Well, that's just not our nature. That's not our nature, and it has never been our nature, and it is not going to be our nature today. Why is that? Because most of Igbo culture is based on the concept of Ibiri Kambiri, right? So live and let live. You live, I live. You do you, I do me. Right. So most of the things you see in Igbo culture are structured to make sure that that power doesn't accumulate in one place. So, for example, in our communities, instead of having like a king, we have congresses where we vote, right? We divide up our economics in four quadrants so that every piece of the community has a chance to be the main market. There are checks and balances between men and women. There are checks and balances between old and young. There are checks and balances between communities. If our communities are brothers, for example, like in my area, and we wage war on one of our sister communities or brother communities, the amount of people we kill on their side, we have to give them that amount of people from our community. At the end of the war, at the peace treaty, we have to give them the same amount of people so that they can also kill them back, right? Or enslave them. And so this culture is very much structured to keep power from congealing in one place. And because of that, it's had more longevity than any culture in the world. It has lasted longer than any culture in the world. I'll put that on anything, right? I'll go bar for bar with anybody on that, right? And then that's not a flex. In culturally, that's not a flex. Oh, I'm dominating you. We don't. That's stupid. You know what I mean? Okay, who cares? Who cares? The way we see it as is, I'm doing better than you. Okay, that's a whole different thing, right? I'm doing better than you. We're both doing this thing, but I'm crushing it and you're not. It's not even that you're not. Even if you're crushing it and I'm crushing it more, it's better. You understand? So no, it's not our this. There's never been that situation where one group just tries to take over everybody. As far as Igbo, like we had wars, we fought, but then after the fight, you'll notice everybody just goes back to their respective place. There's never I'm your king now. It's just not how our shit works, right? If you look at it spiritually as well, we are under the judgment of Alanigwe, and they have their laws. And within their laws, I was saying earlier, everything has its space. Everything has this natural space that it has. And so once destruction starts, let me say 9 out of 10 Igbo not proverbs, but like folklore, you'll notice that destruction or the ruin starts when somebody steps outside and tries to take what doesn't belong to them, right? So the Igbo is this big group, and we have all these tiny little neighbors, but there's never any history of us trying to take over said neighbor. There's never any history of that. It's never happened, right? Because what is that? Who cares? You know what I mean? Who cares? Even it like who cares? What is that? Okay, the closest was Biafra War. I guess but they were trying to reach Lagos, and they weren't trying to take over those places. You know what I mean? They're just like fighting Nigeria. So yeah, it's just that's not our nature. Many people, I guess, are attracted to Buddhism as a tool to cultivate the mind. However, the discipline of the mind is part of our ancestral tradition. How does it approach mental cultivation? Oh my God, this is a good question. And it's such a good question that the answer itself can be I can start a whole channel in fact, my channel is low key about that, right? There are many ways to cultivate the mind in the ancestral tradition, right? So if you have more specifics to that question, we can go as far as just learning. We can go as far as learning from spirit, ego, more. We can go learning from your chi, ego, chi. We can go with the fact that there is no such a thing as learning, that all people have access to that thing that is all knowing, which is their ego. I think that is all knowing and connected to the universal mind. And it's just a matter of tapping into that frequency to get there. We can go into the methods it takes to tap into that frequency. I mean, it's a big topic, right? But there's a lot there. Anything you see in Buddhism, you'll probably see the same thing as far as Odinala goes. Because we're just talking about real life, talking about the same thing. I arrived here because one of the names my mother gave me, Chioke. Hey! Chioke, God is great. So, or the chi is great. Do you know anything about the name? Your name means your chi, the chi, God. Maybe your mother meant God, right? The God is great. It's just a praise for God. But we can go deeper into the meaning of the chi. How are names picked? That kind of thing. Cool. So one of the names they pick, one of the ways they use. Give me a minute. I need to think about something. Briefly describe that. Give me just a second. Educational. So names are chosen. There's a names can be chosen by whatever, but we understand that naming a child. Let's, for example, here's a way of learning. Naming a child, right? Every name is, let's call it a frequency. And that frequency is going to guide you in a certain direction in life. It's going to give you a certain power. So when our people name their children, they're infusing a certain power into them. It is your chance to give your child a spirit that's going to elevate them and move them in one direction or another, right? So chioke is the chi is great, right? The chi is great, right? If there's an ilu that says um, in order to become a king, you must pay the king respects, right? Yeah, I'm trying to say it like the English way. In order to become a king, you must pay the king respects. So oftentimes, because our chi is the highest power, when we honor our chi, we honor ourselves. It elevates us, right? It takes us to that level. You honor your chi, it takes you to that level. So every time somebody says your name, they're saying, let's use God. God is great. God is great. God is great. God is great. That's building you up, right? That name is building you up and giving you power in this world that you can use to actualize and do what you got to do. So no, your name is a powerful name. That's one of the ways that names are given. Sometimes names describe people's situations in life, right? So my son is named Nnamdi because he's the reincarnation of my grandfather, right? Um, that kind of thing. My daughter is Olanna, right? Her father's jewel, because around the time of her birth, things started really moving in a positive direction for me and that kind of thing, right? And so things like that. So, but then they also have these middle names that infuse them with a certain power. My son's name is Eze. His middle name is Eze, right? My daughter's middle name is Ndidi. Eze is king. Ndidi is patience, right? Thank you for your work. Oh no, thank you. Thank you for being here. Oh man, Phoenix, you are sniping. I appreciate you. What is Ikpotu Chinobosi and Izui, where I see people tend to try these at water. Ikpotu Chi is just like calling down your chi. So calling your chi for calling your chi for a conversation. Calling your chi for a conversation. Ikpotu Chi. Izeiwe, Izeiwe, like just solving a problem, like alleviating a pain, right? The first one is calling down your chi, right? Calling down your chi. And then the other one is alleviating a pain, right? The naobosi, so sometimes people are working with a certain charm, amulet, whatever you want to call it. So whatever force they're working with. So calling down my chi and my forces is the first one, right? And then the other, or calling them. And then the other one is to alleviating a pain, alleviating a worry, alleviating an issue. So maybe somebody's going to the river because they have a certain issue and they feel that the river can help them find an answer and alleviate it, that kind of thing. Igbo had the number to be much more than a tribe. Ah, we're much more. Why didn't they expand? Well, expand to do what? You know, expand to do like, okay, like what does that do? I think everybody else in the world has this concept that if I keep doing this, it makes me great. But what does that do? What does that do? It doesn't do anything. Who cares, right? Where I'm at, I'm absolutely abundant. And the abundance is stemming from me as a person. So if I go and take over somebody else, what does that do? What is it? What do I gain from that? Right? We have a philosophy that everything has its place. Philosophically, that's just what we believe, right? As a people, we just believe everything has its place. You understand? And it's just what it is. So if I'm coming out of my place, which is already infinite and abundant, and I in one lifetime will not enjoy the full of it, and I'm coming to go take over somebody else, what does that do? Right? Now, were there wars back in the day? Oh, yeah, absolutely. Right? Did we fight? Oh, yeah, absolutely. All that stuff happened. But there's never a case where we'll fight somebody of like a. I mean, there's exceptions. There are a few exceptions, right? And that kind of thing. And also, Igbo is not one thing, right? So we're many different groups that are all speaking the same language, same culture, same spirituality, but we're in different groups, right? Just like England and Germany, they're both Christian, right? But they're two different things. So we got these different things within a thing. Some of those things fought each other and fought their neighbors and things like that, but very, very rare that you'll see that they'll fight someone to go take over their land. What does that mean? My own land hasn't finished, right? I don't think you guys know how big Africa is, too. My own land hasn't finished. My own land has oil, has minerals, has every single thing in it, has people, you know what I mean? It has everything I need. Iron, lime, lithium, whatever. And then I leave that thing to come take your own land for what? You know, what does that do, right? So yeah, it's not. I think we've even within Igbo land, there's no family that doesn't have land. You understand? There's no family that doesn't. We have a system where absolutely every single person is a landowner, right? You don't see that anywhere else in the world. I think sometimes people like to talk crazy about Africa. They can never see these things that you don't see elsewhere that can actually help the world, right? But I see them, right? It's the only place in the world where every single human being is a landowner, right? And it's from following what we follow. So why would I now leave that and go, oh, I just took over you and your bush? Like, who cares? And then also, yeah, it's just, it doesn't, what does that do? I know the way they teach history in the West is that's what you're supposed to do, but it's really not that. You don't need to do that. It's not that deep, right? It's not that deep. You understand? Me, I already know I'm great. I don't, if I got, living next to these two women over here, right? If I go take over them, that doesn't make me greater. You know what I mean? Now, did they fight? Oh yeah, they fought. My great grandfather was a heavy warlord. Heavy warlord. You understand, right? Heavy. You understand, but he wasn't like, oh, I'm the one ruling over these people now. Like, it's not. What is that for, right? But it doesn't make him, you know what I mean, right? Like, Mike Tyson doesn't need to beat you up to be Mike Tyson. He's Mike Tyson. You know what I mean? So it's just what it is, man. Yeah, it's a different way of seeing things, and it works. It works better. It works better all this Babylon bullshit that people are doing. So Igbos were decentralized, yes, and had more community centers versus the king structure. Exactly. So we don't have feudalism. We don't have feudalism. What you're referring to is feudalism. Why didn't we establish a feudal structure? Because it's one of the most horrid things you can ever do to yourself, right? The minute you set up that feud, everybody loses their land. All that land you had, everybody loses. All that community you had, everybody loses it because you're now serving the king. You understand? And all the things we enjoy in life, all the things that we come into this life to actualize and stand for, it's in the other way. You understand? I will need the original people. This is the original way of living. All that feudal cave. Okay, I can give you the history of that system, but it's gonna sound funny. Just know the word feud. The feud and feudal means cow. Okay, kind of weird, right? All right, it gets weird. So yeah, that's not us. Igbo, yeah, good. That wouldn't be that cause because then they unify. Yeah, but even Biafra is not just Igbo, right? Even Biafra is not just Igbo. Difference between sister and brother communities, just being inclusive. trying to be, I was trying to meet 2025 or 2015 Tumblr's, what you would call it, language metrics, just being inclusive. Is that a naive mindset? Is that a naive mindset because we paid the price when Europeans came? What price did we pay when Europeans came that the entire globe didn't pay when Europeans came? There's this thing, and I have to address it. I'm definitely not getting this paper done today. There's this thing I have to address where we talk as if Africa was the only place that was colonized. And so whenever you say this is the African way of doing things, somebody will come with this mindset where, well, it didn't work when the Europeans came. America was colonized. You understand? You wouldn't say that about Americans. Why wouldn't you say that about Americans? America was a colony longer than Nigeria was a colony. Do you know that? Of all the tribes in Nigeria, Igbo was colonized for the least amount of time. By the time they reached the last village in Igbo land that they were trying to reach, independence started because of what they were doing in Igbo land. Our system ended that colonial thing. Do you know that it was Anyama that ended the Royal Niger Company because of our system? Do you know that the independence we have started from the women's system? That the women have their own government and nobody's ruling over them. They're not ruling over anybody. And that system ended the thing, right? You know, Germany was colonized, England was colonized, Italy was colonized, right? The entire Middle East was colonized, all of Europe was colonized, all of South America was colonized. But anytime you bring the African things like, oh, well, it didn't work when the Europeans came, right? What is that? China was colonized. China just got its independence after 3,000 years with Mao Zedong. People think all Chinese people are the same thing. They're not. Go watch those old Chinese movies where they talk about, the Manchus. The Manchus are not the Chinese that you know. They're colonizers. You understand? The Japanese, Japan is still a colony. The United States controls Japan more than England controlled Nigeria during colonialism. Today, South Korea is a colony. America has more control of South Korea right now than England had of Nigeria this time. But if Japan says this is the way we do something in Japan, nobody goes, oh, it didn't work when the colonizer came. There's certain things that I'm realizing I need to address. And I don't, when I address it, I don't want to just be coming out of nowhere. So I like when people say stuff like this, because what is that? You know what I mean? Who wasn't colonized? Can you give me an example? You know the Queen of England is German? You know what I mean? What are we talking about, right? So yeah, like I said, we have our system. It works really well. We like it. People need to learn from us as far as what we're doing. Because right now, people are landless as hell, and we're not. Okay, so yeah. Talking about I just took over Ogoni people. I took over Ijaw people. I took over Edo people. Who cares? What does that do? What does that do? You know? Right. Once the monarch falls, it's a done deal. Right. It's so crazy too, because that model of existing, there are so many nations that followed it, and none of them exist anymore. None of them exist anymore. None of them. I can't talk to an Assyrian. We were there when the Assyrians were there, and they're gone and we're here. We were there when the Babylonians were there. They're gone. We're here. The ancient Greeks, forget about the ones living there now. Those are some Arabs. They're gone. We're here. So why? You know what I mean? Maybe these people know what they're doing. And any African thing, if you put it next to somebody else's thing, the African thing's immediately wrong. And I'm tired of that. That's not going to happen anymore, right? I'm tired of that. Oh, over here they do this thing. We don't do that. And meanwhile, our thing's working fine. I think we're all just conditioned to see Africa from a place of lack. And all them other Africans, they can feel that way, right? I'm an Igbo man. We don't lack anything. There's no lack. There's no lack. You understand, right? They're trying to ban Igbo. They're trying to ban us in different countries because the women like us too much. Right? So why would I sit here and feel like I'm lacking something? You understand, right? Yeah, it's just that's just not what's going on. I can see clearly. People can't. So when people come to me with their foggy vision, I'm gonna correct them, right? Because I don't know why you guys can't let go of this slave ass bullshit, but I've let it go. It was easy. I don't like it, right? It doesn't even make sense. You know, something like that. So these people do this thing this way. We do this thing this way. Those people don't, the Romans don't exist anymore. We exist. We were there at the same time with them. We're contemporaries. We're contemporaries with their grandfather. We're contemporaries with their grandfather's grandfather, and we're still here. There's more of us. It's about 50 million, 45 million of us, right? So maybe these people know what they're doing. You know, I don't look at Africa the way a lot of people do, man. It's including other Africans. Right. You know, and it's funny too, because it's like when a group of people have existed that long, don't you think that idea has emerged? And maybe they're like, yeah, I don't know if that works that well. Don't you think somebody's had that idea? You know, how old were the Uguales? Is the Uguales 90,000 years? 90,000. You don't think one person has had that idea or seen a bunch of people doing it, like, you know, and then, oh, you know what? Look, every indigenous society in the world operates the exact same way. Every single one. And then they ask you, oh, these people have been here for 100,000 years, 50,000 years, 20,000 years. After being there that long, don't you think you're actually going to more likely to figure something out than somebody just having the random idea to go take over their neighbors and then stop existing? Right? No, the British Empire, not, you know what I mean? Like, they're not going to be around in like 300 years. That's just not going to be around, you know? It's on its way out. The whole thing, the whole continent of Europe is on its way out, right? Don't you think other people had that idea too? And they're like, you know what? Right? And then those ones that they just keep surviving, they keep moving through time. So yeah, man, just sometimes the African knows what they're doing, man. Sometimes the Africans know what they're doing. Mike Tyson eats buggers. I don't know what that means. Never knew Biafra wasn't only Igbo. Yeah, no, Biafra is not only Igbo. Right. What's funny too is that we get accused that Igbo people, if you know African politics and BS, Igbo people get accused of, oh, they're about to do it. They're about to do it. Everybody's they're gonna do it. They're gonna take over. They're gonna take the man. No group of people have ever been accused of trying to take over some shit more than some Igbo people, and we've never done it. Never done it. It never done it. Like if I want to flex, I'm from Awo Mama. I have to flex in Awo Mama. You understand? Nobody else's opinion matters. I don't think people understand that about us. Outside, nothing. It doesn't matter. Like I'm not trying to come over here and look better than you or own yourself. It doesn't. I got, you know. I can try to explain it, but it won't make sense to you guys. It won't make sense. Not finished those deleted spirits. Okay. I'm going to start typing and then ignoring people. I should have typed while I was ranting just now. Did you ever make the Aro or Insanity video? Okay. Can you talk about Ubi Adigi Ano? Violation of Odinala. Seems like a tough remedy since the Council of Elders are now often missing. Okay, yeah. So we have this understanding that your consciousness comes from sky and earth, right? It comes from Alanigwe, which is earth and sky. Let me say it in the proper order. And the earth gives you a form of consciousness known as Ako, right? This is your worldly knowledge. We can call it intelligence. You understand? And then the chief, the sky, the male end, gives you Uche, Akon Uche, right? you can call Uche like a divine wisdom, like a spiritual wisdom, a higher wisdom. You can use it to say wisdom in general, right? But yeah, you know what I mean. So Akon Uche flow through everybody, and that makes us aware. That's what makes us aware and alive and all that stuff, right? And here's the thing, or let me say this. So because you are ultimately an expression of your ancestors. And one of your ancestors is the earth, another one is the sky, right? This is a scientific fact. If anybody wants to, it's a scientific fact, right? And you guys is, not you guys, is in those people's science and in our science, it's a fact. We've established this. So the sky and the earth are our ancestors. And so you're always at one with your ancestors. So their consciousness is always flowing through you and so forth. So from the earth and the sky, we receive Akon Uche, right? When a person commits aru, which is an abomination against the earth, right? Those higher forces that are clean, the ones that keep their hands clean, they withdraw from you, as do the people in your community. Everybody withdraws, you understand? So part of that withdrawal is the loss of that uche and the loss of that ako, right? So oftentimes when people commit aru, their mind fries, right? Their mind fries. There's an ilu that says, he who the gods want to kill, they first strike mad, right? And so you see that a person will commit aru and then all of a sudden just lose their mind and go insane. And from there, they have to rectify the situation, however, depending on the aru and so forth, right? So a lot of what we're calling mental illness can be triggered by our actions, right? Can be triggered by our actions, right? So, did you say cows? Yes, the feud in feudalism. Feudalism means cowism. It means cowism, okay? There are two, you're gonna hear, there are two types of cultures in the world. There are land cultures and there are cow cultures, right? So we don't do none of that cow culture stuff, right? When we die, we don't go to the land of milk and honey. You understand? We don't go to the land of milk and honey. Europeans lost a lot too, but what they profited is what they believe. I think people love Europeans and are obsessed with Europeans so much that whatever we believe, if Europeans were on fire, we would decide being on fire is a good thing. So there's no such a thing as Europeans gained or lost. We have no capacity to perceive that because people are so locked into this slavery that they'll never have perspective on it. If Europeans lost their heads, people will start cutting off their own heads. People will start saying, why didn't I lose my head, right? How come the Europeans have lost? They don't even have heads anymore, right? You know what I mean? So if Europeans stop living, we will quickly look for a way to stop living. That I would like to sever that whatever that is, that lock, so that people can just like, okay, that's them and this is us. That's all it is. That's them, this is us. It doesn't mean hate them. I'm not into all that, right? It doesn't mean that doesn't even mean they're the enemy. Just that's them, this is us. So if they get hit by a vehicle, it doesn't mean you have to now go get hit by or praise the act of getting hit by a vehicle, right? Do you know how colonialism ended? You know how colonialism ended? This is what I was talking about. When you commit aru, you start, right? It's called World War II, right? That is a continental, you understand? How 40 million. Wow. I think it's almost like Allah counted exactly how many people were lost in Africa and said, you're about to lose that in 3 years. Boom. Right? And then Europeans, okay, I'm done. Okay, no more colonialism. No more. Right? But we're going to do neo-colonialism. We're going to sneak in there. And now, whether, again, I hate, I don't like that I'm the only person who can see these things, but the African countries that France is exploiting have more power over France than France has over them, and the French now realize it.
My body!
Your body? Okay.
Daddy!
It's dirty? Okay. So, do you want to use it? Okay, you can sit down. So yeah, that kind of thing, right? Portugal. Do you know why Portugal is so poor? You know why Portugal is so poor? Because Portugal took over one half of the world at one point. And they killed them. Okay? And so even as they're dying, as there's an ilu that says a stubborn fly will follow a corpse into a grave. And I feel that a lot of us are that stubborn ass fly. So that no matter what's going on with Europeans, it's just good. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. We can't even stop and think, do I actually want this for myself? It's just, oh, that's what they're doing. So, but I'm not on that, right? So sometimes people come in with these notions. I hear them all the time, all this crazy shit, all these notions, right? Do I want that? Is there something over there that do I want any of that? Some great healthcare system. Easy to find a job after you lose your job. Strong currency. That's why I'm here, is the strong currency, right? Converts easy. Everything else, that's fine. And if I were different, I'd live a different life. I'd be doing something else, right? But so yeah, there's no, people try to talk about, oh, but the Europeans, they did it, it was good for them. You don't have the capacity to even process what's good, or if anything good or bad has happened to European people, right? Because it's all gonna look good to you. It's all good. You can see them bleeding out. Like, why can't I bleed out? You know? So sometimes when you look at it, it's like, do I want that? Okay. Hey, what's up, Mom?
Can you write for me?
Hmm?
Can you write for me?
Yeah. Oh boy. She's not gonna get done. Briefly, just got it back.
Can you get some wipes for me? Can you get some wipes?
Yes, I will.
What are you doing? What are you doing?
I'm typing and I'm going live. What are you doing?
Moving on my body.
Yay. Let's mark a star. Okay. All right, y'all. I think we're going to wrap it up. What is something you learned about Odinala that surprised you? Oh, wow. This is a good question. Did you say recently? Recently. That surprised me. There was one from like 2 months ago. And I'm going to be so mad when I forget if it doesn't. There was one from 2 months ago. Come on. Okay.
Daddy, can you wipe me?
Yes. So we have a group study on Patreon.
Daddy, can you get me wipes?
I feel like what I'm about to share is, yes, let's go get wipes. Come on. I feel like what I'm about to share is group study scale knowledge, okay? But bear with me. Come on, Mom. Come on. So usually we go this far, right? So there's this idea in physics called quantum entanglement, where things are just connected no matter what, and where, like, let's say you take an atom, two atoms that are quantum entangled, if one's positive, one's negative. This is just me paraphrasing. No, this one, yeah. If one's positive and one's negative, and you switch the charge on the positive, if you take both of them to the opposite ends of the universe and switch the charge on the positive one, it will also switch the positive to the negative, like they'll flip at the exact same time, right? Meaning that they're tied together regardless of space. And there's this idea that time is you can perceive time almost like a physical dimension, right? That you can perceive time almost as a physical dimension, and that process where they're connected to each other, no matter how far they are, it seems strange if you look at it from space, but time is its own physical dimension, or physical dimension is a weird term, is similar to a physical dimension where if you look at it from that perspective, it'll make sense. Well, if you've watched my video on the 5 layers of moi, there's this concept that moi, everything that you have experienced, your moi is still there. Everything that you have experienced, your moi is still there, right? Everywhere you've been, your moi is still there. And your moi is also places that you yourself have not been yet. You understand? So as you're walking the path of life, just know you're encountering yourself. You've already been there. And so it sounds to me that this time realm that people are talking, that they were discussing, where it operates different from the space realm, but everything is. I'm getting all over the place. So it sounds like they're describing a la moi. Okay, it sounds like the concept. Yes. Yes. The concept, let me do this way. The concept of quantum entanglement is not possible to understand if there is no à la moi, or a space where the rules of time are totally different from our own rules of time. Okay? So that's what I think they're about to stumble onto. We'll see. Another thing that I learned fairly recently, like around the time I made my last video, which was like 2, 3 months ago, was that there was a U.S. government project where they found, like, they're working with astral projection and things like that, and they found out that everybody is connected to this. They called it their higher self. There is a force called your higher self, and that you can access your higher self, right? You can actually I talked about this in the video. You can actually reach your higher self, and when you reach that higher self will, like, everybody who's done it, they report back that it's them. It's the purest version of them speaking to them. But that there's multiple other people tied to that higher self, and they're all you in different realities with different this is the US government saying this shit. It's not even me, right? It's all you in different realities tied to this higher self. You understand? I think I can't remember the name of the experiments, but in my last video, I think in my last, maybe my ritual explained video or the one shortly after. Oh, no, my video on mathematics. Yes. My Igbo mathematics video. Go watch that video. I tell the full story there with all the dramatic flair that it deserves, right? And so that concept blew my mind, because that's your chi. That's the chi. You understand? That you can reach is the purest version of you, and you are one expression of it in one dimension. But that this is what I didn't know. There's other yous in different dimensions that are all tied to it. And if you all go to that source, it's all there. You can all encounter each other there. So what's another concept that's blown my I'm driven by the amount of times all of this stuff blows my mind. There's another one as far as Odinala that blew my mind. Trying to think as far as Odinala that blew my mind. Okay. There was this, when I first started my studies, there was this person that was arguing with me, and he was correct, I was wrong. But he was saying that you have to go barefoot when you go to like an Irishi. And I was like, what does it matter? And then they're just saying you just have to, that's how it's done. And I'm like, I don't think it's that. It's not like the Moon's gonna put you in Igbo hell if you don't go barefoot. And then another person was saying that there was a debate on, like cement floors. Does that count as touching the floor? And in my head, I was like, yeah, the floor is the floor. I was wrong. I was wrong again. Mm-hmm. What? Okay, I'm about to finish. Right? In my head, the floor is the floor. It wasn't a big deal, right? And so, student, mark. Okay. Yeah, what was I talking about? Okay, my bad, Joe. Yeah. So And then I start learning more about the mycelium network, right? I start learning about the fact that every forest has the same nervous system that my head, my brain has, all connected. And that if you hit a tree, every single tree in that forest feels it, right? And then I start thinking, I was like, okay, this makes sense because if you and your ancestors go to one spot and you sacrifice and you use it to communicate with Earth, right? After a while, that neural network will learn this is where they come to talk to us. Same thing with that in Jabba Shrine where all the pythons come there. What is it that they're following, right? What is it that they're following? If we're all sacrifices, especially if you're giving blood sacrifice, because that iron feeds the forest, it feeds the trees, it literally feeds the soil. The reason I'm going to go another rant about something. It feeds the soil, it feeds the forest, it feeds the mycelium network. And they look for those places where iron is regularly deposited and they grow heavy, dense root networks. So not just, and it's more than just these mycelium, it's more than that. This is just one thing that clicked in my head, right? So you go to this Arashi where your ancestors have been giving to the land over and over and over and over, and these root networks of mushrooms of fungus have formed under it so densely that it becomes like a frontal cortex, right? It becomes like a frontal cortex where the thinking happens, where the executive function happens. So that to communicate to this forest, this is the best place to stand. Now check this out, right? Your feet are receivers. There's a reason why your palm is pale and the bottom of your feet is pale. It is sensitive. These are two sensitive parts of the body, and they're designed to receive something, right? Meaning that if my hand touches something, the amount of information that goes to my brain is higher than when I do with my backhand. If my foot touches something, the bottom of my foot touches something, the amount of information that goes, let's just say my brain, because it goes everywhere, it goes to the heart and that kind of thing too, right? All these things, right? So if you're giving to the land, and the land has this network, and it is sending energy throughout itself, up and down, so on and so on and so forth, it's also going to send that energy up your feet, right? And so you hear these things where they say that the ancestors say that dreams, that your ancestors communicate back in dreams. The Abara, they communicate back in dreams, right? And I started studying, this inspired me to start studying like what causes dreams. Like where do dreams come from, right? Why do some people dream more, some people dream less, that kind of thing. I learned a lot of different things, but one of the things that I learned that really blew my mind, right? I'm gonna forget the mineral. Magnesium, I think. It's magnesium. Is that your mind, you need magnesium to access the dream state. Your body needs magnesium to access the dream state. The only place you can get magnesium, or no, I'm sorry, the optimal, the best place to get magnesium is with your feet touching soil. So all these things connected to each other, right? Like as far as it's structured in Odinala, I've learned to just not argue. I don't argue. I have nothing to teach Odinala. Odinala teaches me, and I listen. I don't argue. You understand? But sometimes when you see the thing, right? Sometimes when you see the mechanics, that is always impressive to me. I like seeing that stuff. It's fun for me, right? So yeah, be barefoot. Be barefoot at the shrine. Not cement barefoot either. I don't think cement counts anymore, right? Let your feet touch the soil because you're sending vibrations into the earth. You're sending energy into the earth. You're sending minerals into the earth. The earth is, it knows that this is where you come to talk to me. This is where this person comes to talk. This is where this person comes. This is where we get the iron from and all these vibrations. And so it comes there and it sends the vibrations back. The same way your nerves work with each other. If your heart starts beating fast, it sends something to your brain. Your brain sends something to your heart. Hey, chill out. That starts chilling out. And so that's how you have that conversation is with your feet. That's why in African art, especially in the Nigeria area, where they want to depict somebody as strong, they make them they have big feet. They have huge feet. The art, like if you see a statue, the person has really big feet. They're saying that that person is very powerful. But I don't. I used to think it was powerful in the sense of like strong. It's like no, they're connected. They're connected, right? But all that cow culture, all that feudal culture, they make you put a bag on your feet. And you walk around talking about, I'm depressed. I have depression, that kind of thing, right? Another thing that recently blew my mind is our ancestral architecture. Like, I've been really looking into that. So you guys are going to hear a lot more about that very soon, how houses were built. And the fact that at the center, it's all fractals, but at the center, there's always an open space for Allah, right? And that open space is literally just outside. It's just outside, and then usually there's a tree in the shrine, all that stuff, and that kind of thing. But it's outside, and maybe a tree in the middle, and then like building surrounding the thing. So at the core, the ubi, it's literally just an open heart in the ubi, right? All kinds of stuff. I'm always getting my mind blown, and I need more materials. I need more things to read because, yeah. People act like the USA just materialized like millions of yeah, it's like it's like that's you ready for that? Is that what you want? Is that what you want? Because yeah, it's something else. I'll do my this nigga's talking about shit. We're living I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Tension. Is the tension between Igbo because Igbo won few last people before? No, I don't think it has anything to do with Europeans. I think it's just it's just Africans hating. I don't think it has anything to do with Europeans. It was happening before Europeans. And there was there's a story in Edo where the king of Benin, the Oba of Benin had like these chiefs that would do his business and that kind of thing, or do business in Benin. And one of them had built a house that was bigger than the Oba's palace. And so the Oba wanted everybody whose house was bigger than the Oba's palace to demolish their house or reduce the size of their roof. And this particular person refused. And so the Oba waged war against the person. The person was exiled from Benin. But then the person came back with an army, and the story is that he sacked 1/3 of Benin before he was repelled. And what he said was the person went 3 days on foot to go gather his army, which is Asaba and Onitsha now, right? And so you read stuff like that, it's like, oh, this has been happening. This nothing new, right? So, is there a myth on why you have a certain set number of rebirths? I don't know. Oh, the Euro worship is insane. You lose your head. You just lose your head. Especially when mental health issues manifesting in the technology. Yeah. It's like, this doesn't have to be the only reality. You guys just gotta let some things go. Let it go. A lot of people who start their spiritual journey start within European influence. It takes a lot to unlearn. Yeah, it takes a lot to unlearn the European influence. In fact, one of the things I wanted to talk about, but I felt like it'd just be a little too random, is this idea that physical objects are culture. That's a very European idea. It started in the 17th century with French philosophers called Materialism. The idea that because their big idea was that things like spirit are fake, they don't exist. And so we need to focus on physical things. So culture goes from being a spirit of a people or a spirit of a land or a spirit of a family to like the physical produce that family produces, like artifacts, masks, there's that buildings, pillars, that becomes culture, right? But in my own language, culture is Odinala, as it is done on the land, right? And I think we've bought into this idea that these physical objects are culture, or that like companies can produce culture, right? Talking about the Essence Fest thing, right? That's not your fucking culture. That's somebody's company. You know, Afro Fest. That's not my culture. That's somebody's company, right? Or like, let's say now, if or this idea where like somebody, I haven't formed the thought together all the way yet, but like if like because I'm Igbo, because Chinua Achebe wrote things fall apart, somehow it says something about me. And then you get these people that are just kind of leeches that are like, they don't really produce anything. They don't really move anything forward. They're not engaged with it. They just want to tell you about all these people who they think their blood type is connected to. Even this concept of blood, right? Blood quantum is all rooted in materialism. The fact that whatever the hell it is that's called making you call yourself Igbo, that's fake. But the physical things we can materialism, the blood. Oh, he has the blood of this. He has the Igbo. He has this blood, that blood. All that shit is French European ideology, and they seeped into everybody. It just because again, you know, if these people fucking run into traffic, we start thinking about why wasn't us? Why couldn't we run it? So whatever stupid idea they have, you know what I mean, right? I always get like an idea, and then like 20 million of them die, and then they go, oh, oops, my bad, right? But then everybody else is still following the stupid idea, right? So materialism is one of those ideas, which white people have let go. They've let go of it, right? But yeah, all these different things like, oh, this one has Yoruba blood, and I understand like DNA tests because it's like, yeah, somebody's child was kidnapped. This is a good way of identifying the thing, right? But the idea that because of my blood, this person doing something says something about me, that's bullshit, right? Like the thought came about with this with like, okay, so in the African MCU, a lot of African people wear like Nigerian clothes for their weddings and stuff. And there's a bunch of just so much people like, oh, you can't wear our clothes, that kind of thing. This is not a lot of them, but there's enough of them where it's like this is a problem. And that's a very un-African way of approach. That's just not us. That is United States 1850s copyright law that you're talking about. That's got nothing to do with how we're doing. So you mean to tell me that Ngozi and Abba is selling clothes that she makes with her own talent and her own skill to keep her kids alive, right? And she's selling these things, she's making it, she's selling it. And then because this one is like racist or xenophobic or whatever, they're going and telling everybody, quit buying Ngozi's clothes, you don't have my blood type. I didn't make the clothes, I don't buy anything from her, I don't make her life better anyway, but somehow what she's making, her talent, her own ago, that her own identity, nakaya, is my property because of my blood type. Yeah, all that stuff, right? So that everybody stop buying from Ngozi, stop patronizing Ngozi, don't wear Nigerian class stuff. What kind of white cockazoid fuck? Sometimes it's like, bro, these people are trying not to exist anymore. Whatever ideas they come up with, let them have it. They're on their way out. You don't need to, don't follow as a fly. Don't follow the corpse into the grave, right? But you know, who am I? If you're gonna do and this is what people enjoy, right? So, but yeah, this idea that somebody is making beads and you like an American buying your beads, or just foreign person buying your beads goes far because of the currency rate. Like it's a big thing. And some idiot in Connecticut who I've never met, who will never support my children, who will not be at my funeral, is telling people to quit buying my stuff because of her blood. Blood. Doesn't even know if her ancestors were adopted. Right? His ancestors were adopted. I keep seeing this thing over and over, and that's just not how it operates. That's not how it works. That's not who we are. Right? Oh, why are they playing this music? They should be doing, what the fuck does that even mean? If I make music, I want everybody to listen to my damn music. And my neighbor, because his hair looks like this, has no right to tell people not to listen to his music because him and I have the same hair texture. That's asinine. I'll attack that guy. You know what I mean? So I've been thinking about that. You know, I have to find the context to address it because it is a big problem. And if the Europeans want to operate that way, let them operate that way. It's not like they're not God. Let them have it. Let them have it. You understand? They're not always right. In fact, they are notoriously constantly wrong. They just go at things really hard. wrong or right, right? One day they're going to be like, oh, this doesn't make any sense. And they'll drop it, and then we'll be stuck with it, right? Because we don't have enough nerve to say, okay, let's let it go. It's not even a thing anymore, right? So yeah, just these ridiculous ideas. Oh, they're wearing our. Oh, why is she wearing an Igbo? You're wearing a Nigerian to prom, and this is somebody that's wearing jeans. You don't think this is somebody's culture? If that's culture, you don't think this is somebody's culture? If that's culture, but white culture is air. It's air. That's what makes you live. It's what gives you life. So of course I'm entitled to it. Of course I can speak English. It's like, yeah, but you speak my language, now it's a problem because that's a different thing. What is it? Why is it a different thing? And is that different thing a good, like, who classified it that way? Right? Why is nobody jumping on you for wearing a t-shirt? You don't think that's somebody's culture? You understand? If the physical things people make is culture is not what you make. It is the spirit that goes into what you make. You understand? Culture is not it's not the physical item. It is everything that went in. It's the reason the physical item is what it is. So for example, the Japanese have this particular culture where whatever you do it at the absolute best. You do it so well that it's almost cartoonish. You understand? Because you have a high level of consideration for the other person. When the Japanese go to like World Cup, after the game, they all stand up and start cleaning up their section because of this high level of consideration for the collective. It's just a part of their culture. So when a Japanese person makes a sword, he's going to make it with a high level of consideration for the other person. He's not going to sleep. He's not going to eat. He's going to make sure this is the sharpest, most effective sword ever. Now we call it the samurai sword. But the samurai sword isn't the culture. It's what made them, it's the spirit that made that thing be that thing. Because that same spirit is the reason Tokyo's clean, is the reason they always clean up the little thingy, is the reason their work culture, it's a spirit, it's a thing. And that thing, if I have it in me, or this person, they create things that are a certain way. You understand, right? They create things that are a certain way. And after that person, that's that person's business. You understand? That's that person's business. You understand? Culture is not something you can put in a bag. Either you're tapped in or you're not. And if you're being territorial about Akonuche, you're not a fucking African. That's not African culture. If you're being territorial about Akonuche, you're not African. That's not African culture. If something from beyond you, get an idea flow through you, and it was your time to make that thing exist, and for some reason you now then it's all you. I'm not attached to it. It's all me. It's all from here. It's all me. French materialism. Then yeah, that's not that's French materialism. That's 1850s United States copyright law. That's all that is. You know what I mean? How do we make music as a people? How do we make music as a people? Right? Do you know how many? Okay, this person makes for all these traditional songs. That was somebody made that song. But I felt it, so now I sing it. This person felt it, now they sing it. This person, that kind of thing. Then it becomes the cultural song. I mean, sure, you can call it that, right? You can call it that. You can call it a cultural song. But you know what it is. Remember. Okay.
Where's my teeth?
Okay, I'm gonna brush your teeth very soon. I'm almost done. Okay? I'm almost done.
And also, can you get me my food, please?
You guys gonna get everything you need. All right, where?
Thank you.
Yep.
I want my food too.
Yep, you're gonna get yours very soon. Hey, get Ola, do you want your applesauce now?
She already had applesauce.
Okay, then you're fine. You guys go. Let me finish talking. I'm almost done.
Wait, she hasn't had applesauce.
Boss says all ga. Hey.
Okay.
Boss says all. So as I was saying, yeah, it's the culture. It's what. When I was talking earlier about our way of organizing ourselves as a culture, if you understand Odinala, you'll know why it looks like that. But it's the spirit of Odinala that makes the government structure look like that. That makes that's the reason they eat that way. That's the reason they sit that way. That's the reason this is wear that and wear this and that's there, right? And I can use different physical items to give that culture a physical form. But the physical item is not the fucking culture, right? You're not, the hat is not the chieftaincy. You understand? The hat is not the chieftaincy. The feather is not the chieftaincy. But in the French materialist ideology and modernism, all this, it is. So that if I have the hat, I have the chieftaincy, right? That's not what we're doing over here. Now you guys are going to import it over and ruin what we're doing, sure, right? Because you can't just like let them have their thing, because their culture is air, it's the air you breathe. You can't question it. It's just what it's supposed to be. It's just what it is, right? So I don't know. Like I said, this is a very important thing. I don't know if people know the extent by which it is important. And so I have to wait for the right time to fully discuss it, right? I'm getting tired of all this, oh, why are you wearing that beat? Somebody said the graduation sash, that's a Ghanaian graduation. Yo, shut the fuck up. You know, yo, oh, shit, man, I don't know. Oh, never mind. Guys, I'm going to wrap it up. I got to finish this paper. This has been a great discussion, which has really just been me yapping. We're esteemed enough to have exclusivity of our aesthetic. And the problem is we see is when we do our aesthetic. Yeah, I think the situation in America is like different. Like, so notice I didn't bring up American examples, right? But the situation in America is where you do get punished for displaying African culture. But it's not the display that they're after. The issue is not the display, it's the spirit. There's a certain spirit they're trying to stomp out. And those physical displays are signs that that spirit is still alive, right? So what if you lose the spirit, but you keep the physical items? What if you lose the spirit and keep the physical items? What if one day somebody braids their hair and another girl braids their hair, and they both, oh, I like the way she braided her hair, she didn't braid my hair. And then somebody pulls up and goes, I'm going to sue you. You copied my braiding style. What if we have the same grandmother and she has this recipe and she passes it on to her children and they pass it on to their children. One of them goes and copyrights it and says that the rest of them need to stop using it. It's a cease and desist. You stop using my recipe. Yeah, the physical item of the recipe is still alive. The physical item of the food is still alive, but the spirit of it is dead. The spirit, that grandmother gave you a spirit, right? The braiding hair is not about what you have on your head. It's about sitting in between your older sister's legs or your mother's legs for 4 hours. And she's talking, and you're soaking it up, and she's talking to this one, and you're soaking it up, and this shit hurts. But it looks good. You understand? That's the spirit of it, right? What if one of your cousins goes and patents a robot? You put your head in, and then you try to braid it, and then they sue you for infringement, right? Start telling you some stupid shit. Oh, you can't braid your hair like that. That's a Fulani braid. Only the Fulanis can do it. You know, that's the spirit's dead. The spirit's dead. So it's not. The spirit of our culture is everybody's eating from a big bowl of food, and then if somebody comes in the house, make space for them to sit down and eat too. That's the spirit of it, right? And we have to stop thinking that the way we do it is wrong just because, oh, we got a bunch of people hating. So what? They're about to die. So what? Okay. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I know why I'm saying what I'm saying. We get too caught up on the physical thing. And that concept, somebody in France, the 1700s said, from now on, we're going to get caught up on the physical thing. From now on, ancient Egypt is not about the spirits. It's not about thought and all this. It's not about the essences. It's not about the essence. It's not about why they built this thing. It's about the thing that was built, right? It's about the thing that was built. And so then you get the Egyptian, or not the Egyptian, the Vegas Luxor, right? And it's just dead. It's just a thing to get money from someone. But it's the same shape, it's the same physical thing. That's them. Let them have that. We don't have to do that. We don't always have to fucking do that. Let us do our thing. You know what I mean? Right? So all this like getting territorial about like physical items that you didn't make, that shit's crazy. In the end of the in the end of the day, somebody's displaying their talent. Their talent is stewed in their culture, so that when they make things, my culture is in my approach to how I do things. You understand? My culture is in. I can't take it away. It's my essence, right? It's in there, but it's in there, right? That kind of thing, and it's okay. You know, it's okay. Somebody steals. You can't fucking steal my essence. What are you talking? You know what I mean? Like, who are you? You know what I mean? You can't steal. You can't. What do you mean? You stole my culture. How? 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 I can let it go, but nobody can steal it. Right? Please hear that part. I'm trying to find a way to communicate the importance of this because yeah, we've done too much. I sat down and let the other side, I guess, have their way, and then they're wrong. You're wrong, right? You can't steal my culture. I can't steal your culture. But we can both just let it go. We can let it die. That's how it ends. It's not from somebody taking it. It is infinite. It's infinite. It's like somebody trying to steal all the air, which they'll find a way to do it anyway. So yeah, right? Someone trying to steal all the ocean. It's more infinite than the air. It's more infinite than the ocean. You understand? It's infinite. It's infinite. You can't steal it. But I can cut myself off from it so I can tap into their bullshit more. I can get, oh yeah, and that kind of thing. Right? So it's not the physical. It's what went into the physical thing. It's what went into the physical thing. It's not the bell. It's not the bell. It's why is he ringing the bell? That's my culture. Right? All right, y'all. That's great to see you guys. Brandon, I appreciate you, man. Thank you for the donation. Yeah. All right, guys. Classical music is what happens when you Europeanize music. Jazz is what happens when you free it. When you free it. When you free it. When you free it. My favorite jazz song. I'll play it for you guys. Play it for you guys. Dolphin Street.
Imagine being able to build.
All right, hold on. You guys got to hear some ads. I'm going to play it for you guys. And there's a reason I'm playing it for you. There's a reason I'm playing it for you. Listen to this. Listen to shit. All right. That's my favorite at the moment, right? It is Dolphin Street. It's called Dolphin Street. Dolphin Street has been performed by multiple jazz musicians. So Miles Davis will have a version of Dolphin Street. Another one will have another, and so on and so on. So they all do their own version of Dolphin Street, right? What is Dolphin Street? Dolphin Street was an obscure little song that was played in a very obscure movie, right? And that was from 30s or 20s. But one jazz person says, hey, look how I do it. And he throws this thing into it. Another one goes, oh, that's how he did it? Okay, watch how I do it. Throws this thing into it. And this thing they just keep remaking Dolphin Street over and over and over and over and over and over, right? Now, why is it important to bring up this Dolphin Street? Because that right there was the most African approach to creativity you could ever imagine. Right? Oh, word? All right, check this out. Oh, that's yours? Okay, check mine out. Oh, that's yours? Okay, check mine out. It's a current. We're all sharing from the pot. We all got our own versions of it. Every rap song you listen to with 2 or 3 people in it. Okay, that's your verse. This is check mine out. Oh, that's what you put on there. Check mine out. Right? So that the bird, the hawk perches, and the falcon perches. Right? Whomever says the other one should not perch, may that one break their wings first. Right? I'll do my. All right, y'all. As always, uno gadi, uno geto. Nkabala uno tiraka gadi no wa. Ngadi otwa neke norie na fo na nkwa. He said, "Jikeno."